I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Right. I'm off to deal with the fate of the planet. Be gentle with them.
Oh, you know me, Mark. Kid gloves, but made from real kids.
So I have found a way to watch Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 and 2. And I wanted to watch it in one go because it's one story, but like, I didn't know what happened. DC used to be so good with animated films, and well, this wasn't good at all. I think the highest that I can give it is that it was mediocre, but not great. Like, I always criticize the animation, and so I get this off my chest. It just looks kind of cheap. The animation style of the Tomorrowverse. I'm sure there's a lot of work still spent on doing animation in those films because it's expensive and still time consuming, but it just doesn't sit right with me. The voice acting by Matt Boner, Mac Donnelly, Stana Cottage, and there are many more people that voice certain characters. For example, Matt Bomer voices Flash, Mac Donnelly is Supergirl's voice actress, and Stana Cottage has been voicing Wonder Woman for a couple of years now. They all do great, and even Jensen Ackles. I'm not super content with his take on Batman, because sometimes it feels to be too robotic and too emotionless. But it has its moments, so that's all good. So you have clearly a lot of talented actors in your cast voicing all these different characters, and especially something that I liked about Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, 2 was seeing so many different DC characters in like one frame. There were so many characters and versions. Atom, the Question, Blue Beetle, the Ted Kord version of Blue Beetle, and so many more. Dr. Light. That's what I find great. But for the first part, it was told from a Flash perspective, which is not an issue itself. The issue is that Flash for this film lives through moments out of sequence, and you never quite know where you are in the story because you jump from one scene to another, but this takes place on a different Earth or in a different point of time, so you don't know what's really going on, and it's very confusing. I don't know why they did it like that, and it's only until kind of the final that the threads that the threads open and you slowly start to see the picture of what's actually happening. But overall, it was just such a huge detractor from telling the story itself out of sequence that I just can't give it like a good rating. I know there's a certain way to do it. There's a certain way to do everything in film and TV and make it good. But this is one of those instances where it wasn't good at all. Having said that, let's go over to Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2, which I watched directly after. And the thing is here, it's not good for a different reason. So there are 3 storylines going around, one with the Monitor, one with Psycho Pirate, and one with Supergirl. And what's happening, for the most part, is showing you stuff that happened in other films or stuff that happened in a previous film, and lots of exposition. Like Psycho Pirate explains its whole backstory for the majority of the film, and you see it played out, and the same goes for Supergirl. She doesn't exposit, but you see the scenes and how it came to be that she's the Harbinger. Because in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline from the comics, it was Lila Michaels as the Harbinger. Here it's switched out for Supergirl. Totally fair. I think it's even interesting to do that. But yeah, and again, it switches between those 2 storylines, and it also intertwines then with the Monitor and how he came to monitor all that stuff, because the Monitor is connected to Supergirl. And but you see, like, it's not very that interesting to unfold, to see that all, because you kind of question, what is this purpose? Is this just setup? Is this whole film just set up for events that's happening in another film? Because I heard there's gonna be a part 3. So, but is this really necessary? is as engaging. It has a similar problem to like Rebel Moon Part 1, where it doesn't follow properly the 3-act structure in telling a story. And this is a movie series, you know, so not only does a movie series have a 3-act structure, or 4-act or 5-act structure, but also every installment has to have a 3-act structure to function properly. And this is just not happening here. Even the most outlandish storytellers still adhere to the foundations by Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, or the simple storytelling methods of a 3-act structure, this has been happening since the Epic of Gilgamesh, a very old book that I even possess, but I venture off into other territories. And then Psycho Pirate gets a portion of the Monitor's powers, similar to Supergirl. That's why Supergirl is in this film Harbinger, because she got a little bit of power from the Monitor. And from there you can probably guess what's happening if you're familiar with Psycho Pirate. If you're not, then let me give you a quick rundown. So he can manipulate other people's emotions and by doing that force them to do his bidding, which is very interesting. And also they mixed in the original version Charles Halstead with the second Psycho Pirate, Roger Hayden, because Charles Halstead, the original Psycho Pirate in the comics, didn't have any powers, and it was the second one who had all these powers, and was also present for the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths event in the books. And from there you can get at that he's gonna make the Justice League fight against each other and all these different heroes. But I didn't even get this far because so in the film they built these towers to shake off the anti-matter waves, and there's a scene with Kamandi and Solivar, who are not very popular characters or very known characters outside of hardcore fans, defending one of these towers and against shadow monsters, and Elena switches over to Batman with his Batman family doing the same at a different tower. And at this point I was like, it's late and that is not very exciting and kind of inconsistent and on how these shadows are defeated, and I'm just gonna go to bed. That's probably a better decision. It's not very often that I turn off a film. Even when I get bored, I usually try to continue the film and watch it as a whole, and there's just one of those examples, and I was like, no, I'm gonna stop here, it's late, I'm gonna go to bed. And so overall, I just wanted to make this film review, or films review, and just mention my thoughts and everything. Not gonna give it a rating because I didn't make it through, just airing out my feelings and thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's see us in the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Well, the books are full of words that you read, and the show gets me paid.